Hello and welcome again to EMA's Health and Safety Podcast. My name is Kevin Chambers and I'm really glad to have you tuned in today from wherever you are in the country or in fact overseas. We've got a very special guest today. Sitting to my right is Mr. Jeff Sissons, the CEO of NZISM. Hi Jeff, welcome.
Hi Kevin, it's great to be here. Thanks for the invite.
Really pleased to have you here. So our topic, ladies and gentlemen, today is around NZISM. You should be familiar with NZISM, but just in case there are a couple of listeners that aren't, that's the New Zealand Institute of Safety Management, and as I said previously, Jeff is the CEO. So Jeff, can you tell us just a little bit about what NZISM does, and specifically what your role is as the CEO?
Sure. So NZISM is, I'd say, probably the leading health and safety professional association in New Zealand. We've got about 3,200 members, which by my calculation is at least 80% of the folks doing health and safety for a job, particularly health and safety generalists, those folks who are doing the day-to-day work of making sure that a business is safe. They're like the GPs of the health and safety world. They have to know a bit of everything. They have to understand risks, and they have to know when to call in a specialist.
Yep.
So NZISM's been around for a long time. We've been around since 1972. I'm always on the hunt for the person who's been an NZISM member for the longest, and if anybody can beat 1982, then let me know, because there's a NZISM badge waiting for you. But we've changed a lot in the last few years. We've got branches up and down the country, 14 branches from Northland to Southland, and we do a range of things. Probably the most significant thing that we do is lots and lots of continuing professional development for our members. And I was saying to Kevin just before this that I got one of my staff to do a count up of how many events we did last year, and it was 357. So we're getting really close to an NZISM event a day up and down the country.
Well, which of your branches is the one that offers the most events? I kind of would presume that would be in Auckland, because there's a larger population base.
I think it probably is. It is Auckland. We're doing lots of stuff in Auckland this year. Like we've got Georgina Poole, who's an international expert. We bring her over from Australia. She's doing 4 one-day workshops for us and a whole series of webinars, training, that kind of stuff. So she's doing 21 events for us, just herself.
Are these paid events for the members?
The one-day workshops are paid, and you get, but the webinars are free to any NZISM members, and the mentoring's free as long as you've signed up to one of those events.
That's pretty amazing. Yeah. I think you're about to talk about CPD, so let's get into that just briefly. But before we talk about CPD, I'm not a member of NZISM. I'm not a health and safety professional.
Yep.
What, apart from these events, I think you said 358 events or something like in the year, what other advantages are there for a health and safety practitioner or a professional to be a member of NZISM? One
of the things we're really keen on is making it clearer, more obvious and more useful that health and safety is genuinely a profession. I think it's on its way to becoming a profession now, but it's not quite there yet. NZISM, it's a bit like Master Builders or something like that. By being a member of NZISM, you're saying that I sign up to a code of ethics. You're saying that if you don't like the quality of my work, there's avenues of redress for you.
Yep.
And we offer an accreditation framework that allows people who are at the top of their game to get a ticket and get qualified as an accredited member. When you get to a certain point on the accreditation framework, you go on to something called the H&S Register, and that's kind of the leading way for people to find health and safety professionals with a kind of a seal of approval.
Yeah, and then the seal comes from being a member of NZISM and being on the H&S Register.
Yeah.
So you talked about several levels of membership. A number of our viewers, maybe most of our viewers, will be members of NZISM. But if they're not, can you just explain those three? I don't want to use the word lower, but the 3 parts of the ladder.
So anybody can join NZISM, and we're quite a broad church. We've got folks from all walks of life who's unifying qualities that they're into safety, and they'll usually come as an affiliate. So that's non-accredited.
So that will be what I would get, because I'm not a practitioner.
And the next level is practitioner. To do that, you need a Cert 4, and you need a couple of years' experience working as a health and safety generalist. The next level above that is professional. That's the one that gets you onto the Sissons register.
Yep.
And for that, you need a level 6 and 5 years experience working as a health and safety practitioner.
Okay, so if learners have level 3, that wouldn't be enough to get them at the practitioner level?
Not yet.
Not yet, okay.
Yeah.
But with level 4?
But with level 4 they can, and I know of some great courses which they could do to get their level 4 or their level 6, including in this wonderful building that we're sitting in right here.
Yes.
Yeah.
And of course for our viewers, there are a couple of providers that you've got on your website where you go, these are providers that we approve of their programs and we recognise the qualifications.
Yeah.
So yes, we offer a Cert 4. We also offer a diploma, and there are a number of other providers that do the same.
Yeah.
Actually, ladies and gentlemen, we would love you to come and get your training and your learning and your professional development from us. But so that's the affiliate level, the the practitioner level, and then the professional level.
Yep.
And for a professional, so you've got to have a diploma, and then is it also a couple of years of working in the space?
It's 5 years. So these are fairly prestigious. You don't walk in off the street and say I'm a professional. So it's there really are a mark of having done some good work and having studied to become a accredited member.
Okay.
And then at the top of the scale, you've got your certified levels. So you've got your certified professional, and you've got your certified fellow. And to do those, you have to provide a portfolio, you have to go through an interview, you have to show that you really know your stuff.
Yep.
So that's kind of the top of the top for health and safety professionals.
But at practitioner level and professional level, you don't have to have an interview, but I think you've still got to provide some additional evidence. It's not just an email saying, hey, I've been working for 5 years. You need to provide evidence of that. It's about
what qual you've done and whether it's a qualification that we think gives you a really good foundation in health and safety. And it's about have you been working in the field? Have you been doing the role of a health and safety generalist?
Yep.
Yeah.
And you would require people then to maintain their
professional development, their CPD.
To maintain their CPD. So some of that could be done by going to the events that your organisation offers.
Yep, absolutely. We're not a walled garden though, and we're really big on reflective practice. So what we're looking for is for people to be choosing professional development that's going to bring them forward, really. They're going to learn things from, and to note down what they learnt from it, because that's how you get to those higher levels, is by showing how you've developed as a practitioner. It's not about points, it's not about bums on seats, it's about quality professional development.
So you were mentioning earlier, just before we went on air, that AI is something that's here and it's here to stay. You had a nice anecdote, we've got to learn how to surf. If we don't, we're going to get wet. And you've got an event regarding that's coming up.
Yeah, a couple of NZISM events that I think many of your listeners and your watchers might be interested in and are available to members and non-members. We've got a guy called Cam Stevens coming from Australia. He's one of their leaders of safety tech, and he's going to have day-long workshops in Auckland, Wellington and Christchurch, and workshops online, really talking about how do we deal with this new world of technology, of robots and cobots, and in particular AI. As I said to Kevin, I really think that it's, as knowledge professionals, it's important that all of us get to understand the promise and the peril of AI, how to use it effectively and how to use it well and not get yourself into trouble.
With the hallucinations and stuff like that. So how many events is this gentleman going to be hosting?
A day-long workshop in Auckland, a day-long workshop in Wellington, a day-long workshop in Christchurch, and then an online version for those folks who can't make it to that.
And the dates will all be on your website?
Yeah. They're at that last week of July, just peaking into the start of August.
Nice. Okay. We talked earlier also about another thing that I think a lot of people are starting to say one area where health and safety professionals could really benefit from continuing their education and is around their soft skills. And what are your thoughts on that? And again, do you have anything coming up with respect?
Thank you. I think one of the things we're learning, and maybe this is common for not just in health and safety but in business in general, it's not enough to know your stuff. If you can't bring people along with you, explain why something needs to change, and get them to make a decision, then you're often just sitting in a corner wishing that you were better at persuading people. So I think one of the things that's really going to make a difference in health and safety is people having more of those influence skills, those soft skills. And there's a guy called Craig Marriott, who's a well-known health and safety practitioner. He's been doing a course, mostly here in Auckland actually, on basically persuasion for health and safety practitioners. How do you become more influential at a board table, at an ELT table with your colleagues, and how do you get what you need to get done? And I've had members say to me that was the best course I've ever done, and I just think this should be compulsory for all health and safety practitioners. So I'm really pleased that Craig's agreed to go on the road for us. He's doing I think a 15-stop tour all around the country, doing workshops for our members and non-members on how to be more influential.
Yeah, I've heard it said that being a health and safety professional, in many cases or in many ways, you're actually a salesperson, right? You're selling the concept of safe workplaces. It's crazy to think that it needs to be sold. And it's not that people go to work, thinking, well, I'm going to be stupid and not follow the rules. But humans make errors, and so a health and safety person needs to be able to speak to people at all levels of the organisation and sell that vision of we aspire to be a really, really safe workplace.
And I think in some workplaces that's a really easy sales pitch to make. When you're in forestry, there's big heavy logs that are falling down towards you, and so you think a lot about safety. It's in some of the industries where the risks are invisible. They tend to be things like stress and overwork and dealing with your colleagues. We need to be a bit more sophisticated in how we deal with those things. And so that's where doing your research, but also knowing how to persuade your colleagues is really important.
Just going to go slightly off piste, if that's okay. For example, maybe we've got a listener that's curious about health and safety, but hasn't taken that leap. Maybe they're a health and safety rep in their organisation, and they're thinking, this is actually, I like this sort of stuff, and I like the way I can influence around me. What sort of advice would you give to them?
I think one piece of advice I give to them is we're really proud sponsors of the government health and safety led intern program. That's a paid internship over summer with lots of leading government departments. So we will be promoting that program, and people, if they're interested, can sign up to that and say why they're interested. That's a pretty amazing opportunity for a dozen folks to really try out health and safety in pretty advanced organisations. Otherwise, we have these affiliate memberships and these student memberships. I recommend signing up to NZISM and coming along to some of these events, particularly the ones where you get to have a bit of a yarn with health and safety folks. Because one, you're showing that you're keen to learn about this stuff. Two, you're meeting with folks who are in your area and are doing this, and maybe when they're thinking about bringing on an intern or somebody for an early job, that could be a good person to reach out to. We also have a really good jobs board on our webpage that's open to everybody, so keep an eye out for opportunities on that. Okay.
You mentioned before that you've got student membership. I've thanked you for this and thanked your predecessor for this as well, the fact that any learners that are on our diploma, they are given student membership for the year that they've got their contact time. So that's really, really good. I assume that would also apply for Cert 4 people as well. Admittedly, they're only on, the Cert 4 is a shorter piece of time. We've talked a little bit about education, so a little bit more. Obviously, NZISM is that let's continually develop our people, let's continually develop ourselves in this space. What about super higher education? So EMA offers a diploma, but we don't offer a degree. There are a number of institutions around the country that offer degrees. Often I hear people saying that they're maybe a little too academic to really be relevant on the floor, for want of a better phrase. I don't want you to comment on any that are out there, but we did say, look, we want this to become a profession. It is becoming a profession. And if someone wanted to, would you encourage them, go for it, go get that degree?
I think there's some real value in it. One of the challenges is that most of the degrees are postgrad degrees rather than graduate degrees. But having worked as a health and safety manager, having studied a postgrad degree or postgrad diploma in health and safety, the thing that I really valued about it is I think two of the most important skills you can have in health and safety are being good at research and good at critical thinking. Because it feels often like it's a science or a whole series of sciences with a little bit of law over the top of them. And knowing, okay, how do I find out about this risk and what the real deal is with it? And how do I find out about the best controls for this? You may also often need to engage with research, or at least know where to find good quality sources of information. I certainly, something that I found out about when I was studying and would wholeheartedly recommend to any of your listeners and watchers, is the Aussies have this occupational health and safety body of knowledge, OSHBOC. It talks about basic health and safety concepts. It's done by leaders in the field, and it's all freely available. So that's a good place to start. But I think those research and critical thinking skills are the most valuable things you can get from both the lower level and the higher level stuff.
I would agree with you. We just go back then to CPD. So to maintain your professional level at NZISM, sorry, I can't think of the right word, your accreditation, thank you. There's a certain number of CPD hours that learners need to do. What about if there's a practitioner who's like, well, I'm making it up, I don't know how many are, maybe there's 20 or something. Let's say there's 20, they've got these CPD hours done. Should they stop learning that year once they've got their 20 hours?
I mean, as I say, it's more about what you get out of the CPD, and it's less about the points. I think because health and safety is such a big topic, or a whole bunch of different sciences all smuggled together under one coat, there's always going to be something new to interest you and something more to learn about. So some years people are going to do more CPD, some years people are going to do less CPD, but because the world of work is always changing, because there's always new technologies coming in, I would really encourage people to keep learning whenever they can. A lot of health and safety folks they come, like me, they came in as a second or a third career. And the thing that happens when you come in as a second or third career is you tend to have jobs, you tend to have kids, you tend to have all these other things on top of just studying. So we try to give a range of offerings that's as convenient as possible for folks. That means we're doing more and more stuff online, so you can tune in your lunchtime or later. It means that we ask our members a lot, when do you want to hear from us? And it's different in different branches. For some reason, the folks in Canterbury love a breakfast meeting. And the people in Wellington love a lunchtime meeting. And I think folks here in Auckland often like to have an online option, because if you have it in Albany, if you have a meeting in Albany, there's a bunch of folks in South Auckland who are gutted that they can't make it without a long time in traffic. That's really good. So you've talked about a couple of your big chapters, if that's the right word. What are some of the smaller branches or the smaller chapters that you've got around the country? What I love about my job is you get to go and interact with these branches, and they're all quite different. They've all got different folks and different cultures. Some of them feel really like a kind of a family, because you don't have lots of health and safety folks in Tairāwhiti or Northland, and everybody knows each other. They're all chatting about their lives and working on problems together. Let me think about some of my smaller branches.
Well, I assume there's a branch in Whangarei. Is there a branch in Gisborne, for example?
Yep. Gisborne's my favourite branch because it's the smallest and most perfectly formed. We got 20 members in Gisborne, and every time we get another one, we have a little celebration because it makes it a little bit easier to run those events.
That's pretty cool.
We're coming up on 1,000 members in Auckland now, and if I go to an event in Gisborne and I get 12 people there, it's the equivalent of getting 600 people in an event in Auckland. So West
Coast, I'll throw a couple of places at you.
West Coast I'd like to do more on. I was counting up the number of members the other day, and we've got about 10 members on the West Coast as far as I can tell. A lot of them travel over to Christchurch, and some of them travel up to Nelson for their CPD, but I've had a few nibbles of people saying, hey, we're keen to do something on the coast, and I'm keen to support it. Partly selfishly because it's such a beautiful part of the country, and I'd quite like to get down there.
Well, let's go to another beautiful part of the country. What about Taranaki?
Taranaki has got quite a strong safety community, and I think that's all about the oil and gas that they've had there. They've been there. I'd say that Taranaki, usually they're right at the forefront of health and safety, and they want the advanced stuff, not the basic stuff. So we've had a really great set of volunteers running the branch in Taranaki for a long time.
That's great to hear.
Yeah.
And you've been CEO now for about 18 months?
A bit over 2 years now.
Just over 2 years, yeah.
Yep.
So if you don't mind me just delving in a little bit of a personal touch just to finish this off. So what's something that you've really enjoyed over the last couple of years? In addition to visiting all your branches, which you've mentioned 2 or 3 times, what's something that you've enjoyed?
I really, perhaps this is a bit perverse, but I really enjoy the law reform process. Yeah. I've worked in the Beehive as a ministerial advisor.
Well, you have a legal background.
I have a legal background, and having a defined project where you're trying to make the law better and work with folks to do that. Yeah. We've done a lot of work to kind of bring together the leaders in the health and safety system, folks like Paul Jarvie at the EMA, but also people from the different disciplines, different from the people from the different health and safety sectors. Yep. The worker reps and the employer reps, and said, what do we all agree on? What do we think is going to move the needle on health and safety? And when we started having those conversations, I thought, it's not going to be much we agree on. Yeah. There's going to be people over here and there's going to be people over here. But actually, there was a real strong sense of these are the things that we think would matter. Yeah. So we wrote a letter to the government basically saying this is what we think is going to move the dial. Yeah. Some of that stuff is in progress. Some of that stuff is kind of yet to take root. But I feel like we've got a good foundation across the system of what's going to make a difference.
Great. So there's still more to do, but there's plenty getting done.
That feels like it could be the motto for health and safety generally, Kevin.
Lovely. Okay, look, thank you so much again for coming in today. Really, really appreciate your time.
Thank you.
That's us for this health and safety podcast. I hope that you enjoyed that. Again, great thanks to Jeff for taking his time. If you're not a member of NZISM, it's not too late. Get signed up. Get sorted. And if you're a learner who's on one of our either diploma or Cert 4 courses, then obviously you can get student membership. Really appreciate your attention, and we look forward to catching up with you. Until the next time, stay safe out there and goodbye.